welcome to our October webinar. I'm watching as people come in and we're so excited to have you here today. And this is going to be such a great one. I've been looking forward to this. I shared it with people at my school because I hope people are tuning in to hear all of the great things that our guests have to share. But as we just wait for people to come in, we have up one of our virtual sticker boards. And so you can scan this QR code in the bottom of the screen with a device. I'm actually going to see if I can try to do it too. I love doing these. And then we even have, how many winners do we have today, Bree? How many pixels?
The last pixel will be a winner.
Oh my gosh. So there's also a chance to win. And so if you look on the top, the great thing is that if you've never done one of these before, you can also see, like, as your kids come in, you can see that we have right now like 5 people in here, and people are matching up the color, choosing the color and matching up the number in the virtual sticker board. And so it's a great way to get our kids engaged and excited, and just like building that community for all different things, but obviously adults like it too. So I think it's just so much fun. And so as you come in, you can scan the code, and we'll give people a few minutes to get on there. I guess, Bree, you could also share the link in the chat if we go to the screen. And
yeah, I just shared it in the chat for everybody.
Love it.
And also, if you click on the, you can also zoom in.
Yeah, it's nice on your device because if you take your fingers and you can zoom in to see the grid a little bit closer. So it's nice because then you can see like what you're doing. So over there on the side too, you'll see the little magnifying glass. So that's really helpful too, especially if you're working on a device. Not so bad when you're working on a laptop, but on a device is always fun. So as people start coming in, just use your phone and you can scan that QR code in the bottom and participate in one of the virtual sticker boards. Love it. And so as you come in and work on this, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave this going, and we're going to go to the slides and start our webinar. If you just click on the slide, I think it will open up full screen. Whoops. Would you like me to try to share? Okay, there we go. Okay, great. All right, so today our webinar for October is 8 ways to unleash the most creative minds at your school. And we have today some very special guests, and I am going to let them introduce themselves too in a second. But I also just wanted to, as we start to put up our QR code and our bit.ly, so everyone has that and you'll be able to get to all of these resources. Bree also will put links that we're going to use today in the chat. And so just know that you can see the links and the resources that are being shared by watching the chat too. So that makes it really helpful. But I'm excited because I get to join today as a host along with Brianna. And my name is Shannon McClintock Miller. I am a teacher librarian in Van Meter, Iowa. And I also work with StickTogether as part of their community and love using StickTogether at our school too. And so really excited to be here today, especially with our special guest and Brianna.
Hi, my name is Brianna Kua, and I am the owner of Engaged Media Solutions, and I am the Director of Digital Marketing and Brand Communications for StickTogether. And yeah, I'm so excited for this webinar.
So the first thing we're going to do is we always like to just get to know who is here and get to know each other. And so in the chat, if you would share where you're from and what you teach at your school, I'm sure today we have lots of different people that do different things at school. And so we can't wait to hear what everyone does. So use that chat as a way to communicate, not only introducing yourself, but also throughout the webinar too. A few friendly reminders. One big thing is that you will be receiving a recording of the webinar along with the resources. So just like take your time and listen today and know that you can go back and you can see what was shared if you have any questions, and use the chat to put your questions. So we'll have time at the end. We're going to take about 45 minutes today, but we'll have time at the end too that people will be able to also ask questions. So I'm excited about that too. There's going to be 3 chances to win. There's going to be a Let's All Stick Together giveaway, a final pixel giveaway, which is what you guys are working on right now, and a chance to win something, a giveaway from the feedback form. So 3 ways that you can win today, which I think is amazing. Also, there's the Let's All Stick Together giveaway, and one lucky attendee who posts a screenshot from the webinar using the hashtag Let's Stick Together and follows by StickTogether and SuperDville will win a standard size sticker poster kit, a puzzle face, or virtual sticker board basic plan. And the most exciting thing too is that we're adding on a SuperDville subscription. So we're really excited about that as well. So you guys can take part in that giveaway too. So remember to use the chat for questions, and at the end, we'll take time to answer these as well. But at this time, I am going to pass it over to our amazing guest from SuperDville.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to SuperDville, where different learners make a difference. And my name is Peggy Stern. I'm founder and CEO, and I'm really excited to be here. I am a huge fan of StickTogether and its founder, Sylvia Stein, who is truly one of the most creative people that I know. And so this is just a lot of fun to be able to come and speak with all of you. And before we begin, I want to explain one thing, that at SuperDville, we like to say learning differences rather than learning disabilities. But we are talking about dyslexia, dyscalculia, the, learning and processing issues and attention issues that are very much referred to in school settings as learning disabilities. And often I'll just say LD for short. And for social and emotional learning, I'll, often say SEL. So just wanted to straighten some of those things out. So today, let's start with having you all close your eyes for a second and put yourself back into the 3rd grade. And now open your eyes and think of yourself in a 3rd grade classroom. All the kids are sitting on the rug and the teacher is reading from a book about birds with beautiful illustrations. When the teacher's done reading, she says, okay, now everybody, pick your favorite bird and write a short paragraph about that bird. And if you have time, then you can, draw something along the borders. Meet Margaret. She is so excited. She can't wait to get to the drawing part because she loves to draw. So she remembers all the illustrations of the different birds, and she sits at the table with her paper, and she has so many ideas, and she's trying to decide which bird she should pick. And finally, she settles on the robin, but then she looks at this big blank sheet of paper in front of her and she freezes. She sees a few kids already going up and handing things in to the teacher. She knows she is so frantically knows that she is behind. So when she is done, she looks over at her friend Betty, who's sitting next to her, and Betty's paragraph is done and very neat, and she's drawing her birds on the border. And Betty looks back, and when she sees Margaret's page, she starts to giggle. It's filled with crossed out words, strange letters that aren't even real letters. It looks like an abstract painting. So when Betty starts to giggle, Margaret quickly crumbles up the piece of paper and she goes to the teacher complaining of a stomachache. If you're wondering what happened to Margaret, that was me 58 years ago. Peggy's my nickname. And that is one of many stories I could recount where I felt behind. And once again, my confidence really would go down another notch. Luckily, as time went on, past the 3rd grade, I found filmmaking and first photography, then filmmaking. And, you know, the creative outlet, and then that actually turned into my career, was a huge salvation for me. And I promise I will get to actual SuperDville things in a second, but I wanted to give you some background on learning differences so you could truly understand the need for both academic remediation, which obviously is critical for kids who learn differently, along with the social and emotional learning, which is what SuperDville is all about. Having a learning difference, and 1 in 5 children have one. So that means in a school of 500, which, you know, some of you probably come from, there are 100 kids who have LD, whether it's dyslexia, dyscalculia, ADD, etc. LD is something you have your whole life. You can learn strategies to deal with it in school and in life, but you know, if you're lucky enough to get the right help. Because I was one of those kids who was lucky to get early intervention, I really, one, was kind of haunted by the thought of what if I hadn't had a grandmother in the field who back in the 60s spotted me and knew that I needed extra help. What if that hadn't happened? And, you know, it just has always made me want, frankly, to kind of give back and do something for the 1 in 5 not getting the help that they need and deserve. So I started long time ago doing a documentary on the topic. And here is a short clip from that film that I, you know, started years ago.
Wondered how a few black marks on a white page create entire worlds of sound and meaning. I wondered about it because it took me years and years to learn how to read. It felt like my brain was wrestling with words. It seemed like I tried harder than other people, but was still always behind. It was like everyone else around me could race along the highway. They knew how to get where they wanted to go, and I had to take the side road. It felt like I was the only one, but I wanted to read, so I never gave up. Think about this. You can't remember the sequence of the days of the week, the order of the alphabet. You can't read a clock. It can feel like the letters are dancing before you on the page. And yes, being dyslexic certainly turns your sense of yourself upside down.
When I was young, the teachers would call upon me to read out loud, and I couldn't. I learned if I was tough guy, they would stop.
At 10 years old, I can't even spell my name. I don't do anything to hide it, anything. I didn't even tell my husband.
My father hated me. He thought I didn't try hard, thought I was a disgrace.
I really thought I was like outcast. Like, why me? You know, like, I can't read like everybody else. Why I can't get it? Everything else click, but the reading and the writing just didn't click. I just didn't know why I didn't get it.
So there are so many heartbreaking stories of adults from my generation. And, you know, now we are dealing with the fact that kids in the US are in the midst of a mental health crisis. You know, we keep hearing about this. And the fact is that kids with LD are twice as likely to suffer from depression than the general population. And you can see other statistics that are on this card. That seems a clear indication of the extra layer of baggage kids with a learning difference carry. And, you know, unfortunately, some of them are going through some of the situations that we hear happened decades ago with the adults that I was interviewing. So how can we stem the tide of all these issues? Early intervention and fostering confidence is the bedrock of nurturing stability for kids with LD. When a child feels good about themselves and can identify their strengths, they take risks and are willing to share their ideas and explore their creative strengths freely. Social and emotional learning is one of the ways to foster this. I want to take a second to introduce CASEL, the Coalition for Academic and Social and Emotional Learning, a great resource for all things SEL, for those of you who don't know about it. And for more than 2 decades, CASEL has conducted research and set a high bar for SEL programs. And I can attest that what CASEL is saying about SEL motivating kids to learn, behave positively, and succeed academically is the feedback we get from teachers who have been using SuperDville. CASEL's wheel that you see here on the screen clearly lays out the 5 competencies in the center that are central to SEL. However, for kids with learning differences, a one-size-fits-all approach to SEL leaves out a significant number of students from getting the help that they specifically need. And that's where we're came up with and are talking about targeted SEL programming. Our team of SuperDville, advisors and experts worked with us. The people, some of my main advisors were from UCLA and Tufts, and they expanded on the CASEL model and have integrated 3 additional skills, which we've added to the wheel: belonging, resilience, and learning goals. SuperDville incorporates all 8 competencies into our program. And that really means that, whenever we're thinking about our scripts and our activities, we're always trying to, emphasize and lead kids into understanding more about these competencies. SuperDville is the first and thus far the only PBS-style video-based SEL programming for students 7 to 13 years old with learning differences. And each short video includes a discussion guide and 4 hands-on activities, all easy to access on our site and easy to implement and easy to fit into the day. We've done more than a year, really 2 years of piloting around the country. And teachers find that they use SuperDville, some in morning meeting, some after recess, some Friday afternoon, some twice a week, depending on their class, depending on, their style of teaching. So it's designed and definitely very specific in how you can use it. But when you use it is really something that, you can find in your own classroom or certainly in library settings. And the themes we cover, such as confidence, procrastination, perseverance, stress, self-advocacy, are all woven into our narrative videos and our activities. And they allow kids, the activities specifically allow kids to explore the themes even further. The videos are really there for kids to identify with and to see themselves and to, in many ways, they're discussion starters. And we've been told that they're incredible at helping, the adults in the situation get access to what the kids are thinking because they're responding to other kids. So where did the 8 ways to unleash creativity come in, which was the title of this and which we brought you all here to hear more about? Well, embedded in our videos and curriculum is the idea that all kids with learning differences, and really all kids in general, and we do hear that SuperDville is getting used in general ed classrooms a lot, have unique strengths. And I'm sure as educators, you all know this. And a key to succeeding in school and in life is supporting the kids around us to identify these strengths. Gaining confidence because you understand your strengths helps you in so many ways. So this means that as you get to know each student or child in your life, you can help them identify which of these forms that are listed on this card, and you'll see the rest of them in the next card. Really these are unique forms of intelligence, and which ones do they where do they fit in the best? So, I know that as a parent and in the work that, I've been doing over the past more than 10 years, we hear, okay, help kids identify their strengths. but how? It's easier said than done sometimes, right? So, and depending on the child. So with kids who have dyslexia, for example, they see their peers racing ahead in reading, which sends their self-esteem plummeting, right? Which, I showed, that was happening to me with writing. So helping kids understand that everyone has strengths in spite of the things that you're struggling with. And so, that your weaknesses are things that you can, put in perspective, basically. In reality, kids with learning differences usually do have strengths in areas of emotional intelligence, of being artistic, musical talents, engineering. There are long lists of successful adults with LD who struggled in school, but went on to do, really strong, amazing careers in professional endeavors. The more, and creative ones, the more we can help kids see that if they are good at drawing, solving puzzles, even organizing their bedroom, or their backpack, they have strong visual skills, for example. So even if reading is coming slowly or math is a constant struggle, they have other talents that they can, really build off of and start to feel good about themselves. And that's the key. I mean, to get through every day of school feeling bad about yourself is just beyond painful, really. It just adds up, and you drag yourself home. That's the best way I can describe it from my memory. And I have a child with dyslexia, so she is now actually downstairs studying for her medical boards, but she's dyslexic and ADD, and there was lots of ups and downs. So here, I think I forgot to go to the second list. You're getting a recording of this, I believe, all of you. So, I think this will all be laid out. And one of the other things that, is wonderful to do, is have discussions about all of these things. And we have a book coming out, I hope in January, that's going to be a guide to doing SEL activities based on our videos, but they'll be turned into read aloud stories, and there'll be activities coming off of them. And so here are some, of the discussion questions from that. Like, do you find it easy or hard to talk about what makes you different? Why or why not? Why do you think that people feel shy about talking about the things that make them different? Can you think of anything that makes you different that you feel proud of? So I think it would be really great if you would take a second to write in the chat what your strengths are, and you can choose from this list, if you identify with one or more, and you might have something else, another one you want to add that makes the list longer than 8. So just take a second and maybe add something to the chat, and I will go on and get ready for the next slide, which is a video. So for kids with LD, another critical way to help them find their strength is the whole peer-to-peer mentoring model. And that fit in really beautifully with my being a documentary filmmaker. So in our videos, even though they're narrative, we cast real kids, not professional kid actors, but actually real kids. And the only criteria was that they needed to be willing to be public about their learning difference, which was, not a small thing when so many kids feel the stigma still, and there can be still bullying and all those things. So I was amazed that our first audition, there were more than 75 kids who showed up from the tri-state area. And that was a real something to me that there are things that have changed. And one of them is the parents who have been out there really, pushing and lobbying that things, that more services are available for their children, and who have encouraged their children to not feel ashamed about having a learning, difference or disability, as the world calls it. So at SuperDville, we achieve this, as I said, by using real life kids. And then that means that when the kids with learning differences see the videos, they see themselves. They really understand, wow, this, that's somebody who gets this, that's somebody who's like me. And then all the kids in the cast do tips that are on the site, and kids can watch, and they're really amazing. And they're the kids speaking right to the camera, the cast saying things that help them. things that the kids should try, about how to talk to your teacher when you come to the first day of 5th grade and things like that, very concrete things. So one of the things we also did is we used one of the kids in the cast to introduce every activity that is on the site. So it's all written out for teachers, and you can completely go through and read discussion questions and the steps and the supplies and everything that's needed for an activity. But we also have, for the benefit of the audience of kids, one of the cast members describing an activity. So here's an example of that from an episode called Professor Boom and the Dyslexic Brain.
Let's school. All right, we all never gonna be good at spelling, so I'm just gonna give up. War problem.
Singing is a great way to remember things. It's a great way to remember those complicated names. Read the words. The left brain transmits them to the right brain. The right brain then helps translate into pictures. Is it cool to know that there are super D kids all over the world just like us? Hi, I'm Brooklyn. I'm Kaya.
My name is Charlotte. I am dyslexic and I have ADD.
The way of thinking smart. Here's your chance to show us what your super D brain can do.
What are your goals? We prep a class and wrote our goals. It's just really good practice to set goals.
Come up with 3 ingredients that you think would make a delicious, weird, or outrageous dish. Then draw what the final dish will look.
If my team is the months, keep working on it. You're only going to get better. That's a lot.
So I actually kind of goofed, but I think that you got the sense of what the videos and the activity prompts are like there, because that's actually our trailer. And I skipped a slide, but I think that I've been going on a bit long, and we're going to now move on to hearing from one of my co-workers at SuperDville, who is going to share some real specific ideas of things that you can do with SuperDville in your libraries. So later, I hope people will have questions, and I'll be excited to answer whatever you might want to know more about. So Adrian, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Peggy. My name is Adrian Redos, and I'm a writer and brand marketing consultant with SuperDville. And a lot of my marketing experience comes from children's publishing. And that means that I was lucky enough to have a lot of opportunities to create things for librarians and media specialists. If you ever went to ALA or NCTE, I was the person in the publishing booth trying to give you books and materials and things to use, and listening to what would make your job easier. And today I'm going to share with you some ways that SuperDville can be used within your school library and within your school. So you all obviously know what works best for your schools, but what I've heard from school librarians is that collaboration is key. Finding those opportunities to create, expand, and support what classroom teachers, guidance departments, and the school as a whole are focusing on. And I'm happy to say that pretty much no matter what it is that your school community is focused on, we have SEL episodes and activities with SuperDville that can help. Some examples: within your school support team, you might have guidance counselors that are exploring skills like stress management. You might have social workers helping kids to improve their confidence in their academic environment. And occupational, speech, and physical therapists might be looking for creative ways kids can explore movement, self-expression, and fine motor skills. SuperDville episodes and activities can help with all of those things. And that brings us to classroom teachers and social emotional learning tie-ins with specific subjects. For example, if a class is studying science, we have episodes starring the fantastic Professor Boom, who Peggy mentioned earlier. For drama and theater arts, we have everyone's favorite talk show, Susie Sings. And for STEAM, we have episodes featuring amazing inventions, including an episode called Perseverance, with one of the most amazing inventions you will ever see. And we're also perfect to help with school-wide events. We found that school-wide reads often promote the same things that we focus on in SuperDville, themes like community, kindness, and empathy. And we're, of course, perfect for moments like Dyslexia Awareness Month, Bullying Prevention Month, and World Kindness Day. You know your schedules best, but these are just some examples of how we imagine you might use SuperDville when you could plug it into the school day. Now, when you're ready to host a SuperDville lesson, you can choose an episode. On our website, it's really easy to choose episodes by grade or to search by social emotional learning theme. And next, you can choose one or more activities that go along with that episode to include in your lesson. You can include an activity that gets kids up and moving, like an improv activity, an art or writing activity, or encourage some cooperation and getting to know each other with a group activity. And then prepare, of course, whatever you need to screen the episode, and then the art, writing, and other supplies that you'll need for your chosen activity. And then we have some bookish extension ideas. You can read a book as part of the lesson with similar themes to the episode you're screening. We have a great list of SEL books on superdville.com, and just some examples. The wonderful picture book Circles All Around Us explores themes of belonging. Aaron Slater, Illustrator, is about self-acceptance, and Good Different features themes about resilience. And other book extension ideas, you can ask kids to imagine that the SuperDville episode they just viewed was a book. What would the book cover look like? How would they convey what the book is about through art? Have kids create their imagined book cover using the art supplies that you've provided. You could also do, now we're moving on to the screen-free edition. I know that you might not always be able to screen an episode as part of your SuperDville lesson. Episodes are at the core of what we do, but the great news is that if you ever need to do a lesson without screening an episode, all of our activities can be done with or without viewing an episode. Just choose 3 of your favorites according to theme and use those. You could also do something like create an SEL scavenger hunt, sending kids out into the library to find books with SEL themes, like find a book on kindness or belonging or working together. And then you could use those books to create a SuperDville book display. You can ask kids to create book talkers. Kid book talkers are the most hilarious and most honest book talkers you've ever seen. They can create them for their favorite books, and you can remind them that this is something that they're creating for their community. If a classmate is looking for a book about standing up for themselves or how to be a good friend, this is where they can find it. Now, Peggy mentioned the 8 creative strengths, and these are just some examples of our episodes that speak directly to helping kids develop and discover those creative strengths. One great way just to mention to explore movement is with the tips videos that Peggy mentioned. These videos feature helpful peer-to-peer messages from the cast of the show, and they all include activities that will get kids moving. And these are just a few more specific episodes and activities that will help kids explore their unique strengths. Now, when you're ready to get started with SuperDville, after this webcast, we'll be sending you an email with a special 20% discount code for subscriptions to SuperDville. And once you subscribe, explore the site. You'll find everything you need to get started. We have teacher tips, we have a blog, we have tutorials, and you can spread the word to your classroom teachers, to the school administration, letting them know that you now have access to SuperDville. And you all know your favorite ways to collaborate. You can start brainstorming on some fun ways to incorporate SuperDville into the school day. So thank you for having us. And on this page, you can see a list of resources, which will also be sent along with the presentation. So I'm going to turn it back over to Peggy.
Well, thanks. I think, I was really excited when Adrian started developing these ideas. And here's our contact information. Please send us any questions. And all the things that Adrian mentioned, like the book list, you will find, as she said, on our site. And all of those things, you don't need to be a subscriber. You can go to the site, you'll find a lot of things that are resources, even if you're not yet subscribed. And then hopefully you'll see how easy it is to use SuperDville from the 2 free lessons, one from the elementary school curriculum and one from our 6th grade middle school curriculum. So I will now pass it back to our wonderful hosts, and hopefully it'll be opened up for a few minutes of questions. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys. It was so interesting. I took lots of notes and I can't even, lots of ideas are swimming around in my head on how to use this. And I think that I love that you talked about how the librarians could be part of the solution on how this is shared in schools, because I think that number one, that collaboration is so great, but there are so many supporting materials, so many books now are being published that support our learners and our kids and families in so many different ways, and teachers too. And so I really appreciate those ideas and that you mentioned that, because I think that's just such an important part of what we can do in schools. One question that I had is, so if you had a student and maybe the guidance counselor or teacher comes to you and you want to share a video or a lesson with families, can you do that with your subscription, or can families join too?
Yes. So anybody can, if you become an individual subscriber, then you will be able to share with the parents that of the kids that you're working with. If a school is a subscriber, then they will also get sort of a parent code that will allow that school to share the videos. And we've actually translated all the curriculum into 8 languages, because we really want this to be accessible to families and to parents. And the United States is made up of all kinds of people, and some are more comfortable in their original language. And so the videos are also all translated into Spanish. So they're actually dubbed by kids in Argentina. So it's different voices doing, the acting. It's not just sort of grown up translating it into Spanish. So it's well done. So, I think that triangle of the child, the school, and the parent is the key, to success for kids with learning differences, for sure. And so we've done everything, we can so far to help support that to happen. And, we're really open to ideas as people become users. I mean, we've really just started distributing this year. And, we're excited by the feedback, and we're in already districts in Texas, and we're in schools in I think 6 states. But it's slow, to be honest. I mean, we really want to get the word out there. We really want to get this, into classrooms and into libraries. I mean, I think that Adrian showed that could be really exciting way to be in a school.
Yeah.
For us.
Especially with the books that, one of my new favorite books is Erin, the illustrator one. I absolutely love. I love everything that Andrea Beatty does, but that one is just so special. And I think that, you know, using books and for our classroom teachers too, but then those great videos from the kids, like they're so talented and authentic. And so I applaud you for that. I think that that's something that's really unique and neat about SuperDville too.
Yeah, the kids are amazing. And I do really recommend people go to superdville.com because you'll get to see, you know, the kids in action. You don't have to pay to do that. And to, you know, as a subscriber, you get a whole lot more, but it's really fun to see some of the videos.
Oh, I love that. Does anybody else have any questions for our guests? Kind of watching the chat now. Thank you for coming, Alicia. And if anybody has any questions as we go through resources and something pops up, please feel free to put it in there. We'll kind of watch, and I'm watching my chat, my phone too, because Bree will send, if anyone has questions, she'll send that to me too. But this webinar, along with all of our others, you can find on the YouTube channel from Stick Together. It's nice because you can go back and even share, like these are great to share with your teachers and with others, with your administrators, because it's just so nice to be able to get all those resources and the recording as well. You also at this bit.ly can find the feedback form, and your certificate for professional development will come to you after you fill out that feedback form too. So that is a really great thing to have that. And the feedback form giveaway, one lucky person by 11:59 Central tonight, if you complete it, then you are put into a giveaway for a prize. And so that's a really nice way to win something too. There's so many things coming up for the holidays, the Stick Together posters. I'm excited for our library and to put some of those up. So those are great too. But thank you so much, as always, for joining Brianna and Stick Together and I. We love these and we just love this one. I learned so much from you too, and can't wait to bring this recording and all your resources back to my school too. So we really appreciate everything that you shared. And thank you everybody for joining. I know that Sylvia is here actually, who's the creator of Stick Together. I can see her in the chat. And so she's thanking everybody too. But we are so blessed to be part of this community and are really happy that we got to spend time together today. And Bree just put in there that Amanda McCall won the Last Pixel giveaway. So that's exciting too. Yay! But thank you guys. And we will put the link up. So in case you need it, you'll be able to grab that. And if you have any more questions, the chat will be open for a few minutes too. Bree just put the slides in there as well. But feel free to, if you have any more questions, to ask. And we'll be here for a few more minutes.
And I would like to just emphasize that, you know, we're excited to work with whomever gets the prize of a year-long subscription, because we offer, you know, some training, not that you really need training to use SuperDville, but we're a resource and it'll be fun to work with whatever school gets that.
I'm excited to learn that too.
Yeah.
So awesome. But thank you, all three of you, for joining us. And you had so many great ideas. And I can't wait to now I have some notes to share with our teachers and some ideas. And so I'm really excited. I love too that it can be used with older kids. I think that's something that's really special as well.
Yeah. No, I think these issues, you know, they just change as you get older. They don't go away. I mean, we all can imagine the stress before you have to read aloud. Or, I mean, honestly, you know, I have both dyslexia and dyscalculia, you know, the issues with numbers. So I dealt with that by marrying an economist. So he can always tell me. And I literally had to double check. I just got nervous and I was like, wait a minute. Do I have the numbers right about the, 1 in 5 and 500 and 100? And I was like, I don't trust myself. And that's the baggage I have. I mean, it's hard for me after the years in school where, I was just getting things wrong all the time. So I think that's what we all can need support ourselves as grownups to help kids. It's like ideas. It's not easy to know how to access that child who's feeling just shut down.
Yeah.
How do you bring them out? How do you help them want to start talking about those thoughts? And it's not like to the level of being a therapist. It's more just feel comfortable putting words to the feelings, putting names to, and that's a lot of what these videos do. And it really makes a difference in these kids' lives. It really does.
Well, they're lucky to have you and all of the great people that you work with to create
Yeah.
something like this. So
No, it's a great team, and most of the people who have worked on SuperDville have been touched by learning differences in one way or the other, whether it's that they themselves, the scripts were written by all people who had some connection to having a learning difference, and whether they're parents of a child that they're raising. I mean, it just is that kind of issue that once it touches people, I think they get pretty passionate about it.
Mhm.
And I felt pretty strongly, as with the 8 creative strengths, that, bringing out the creativity. I mean, dyslexics and people with learning do tend to be very creative. So it was not hard to find screenwriters and directors and animate, to work on this, all of whom had LD. I mean, it was just an easy task.
That's really neat. It's cool to see. I love always hearing like the backstory, of tools like this, because that makes it even more special and just is really neat to hear. So I appreciate that. Does anybody else have any questions? We're so happy that you came, and it's going to snow here maybe this weekend. So wherever you are, I hope you're staying warm and cozy and getting ready for the holidays. And yeah, it will be here before we know it.
That's so strange. I hate to tell you, but it's like 75 degrees here.
It's actually
New York area.
72 here today where I'm at. And by the weekend, it's going to be chilly. And Denver too, Bree.
Yeah, it's 60 here, but the chance of snow on Saturday and Sunday just keeps going up. I think we're at 85% now for like 4 inches.
Really?
So
Ay.
I'm kind of excited.
I'm not ready.
I wasn't, but then I was like, I'm kind of excited just to, cozy up.
Oh.
Well, thank you, everyone. And we will be in touch with the recording, and you'll be able to fill out those forms and get your certificate of participation too. But until next time, we're really glad that you joined us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.